Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Let's Talk Destiny podcast and the Our Mothers Cry platform. I am your host, Jamie Green, and I'm thrilled to have a very special young lady with me today. She's not just um, an author, but she is my sister writer. She is my friend, and we've shared some things that have helped me to get further down the road as a mother, understanding the importance of taking care of me first.
Yes.
So tonight I have with me the one and only Sylvia Hubbard. Welcome, Sylvia.
Welcome and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm going to switch to privacy here so that anyone that wants to share, please like and share the video. There's going to be some amazing information shared tonight for mothers. As we know, this is the month of May is the Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I wanted to do something for mothers, about mothers, but also to address our mental health as well. And so the thing that I came up with for tonight is when mama feels broken, mental health, motherhood, and redemption. And let's start this off here, Sylvia. A few weeks ago, a couple months ago, I'm getting old, my memory timing is not really great. But there was a news story about a mother in Detroit who had her children were sleeping in a van, and it was like in the dead of winter. It was very cold,
Yeah.
and the children died, I believe, from carbon monoxide poisoning in the van.
hmm
And as a mother, of course, and an empath, my heart just broke. Like I just cried for days, like I knew these people personally. And then I came across your video where you were talking about that situation, about the resources or lack of resources that
Yeah.
were available to that mother, and about your own personal experience with not always being able to provide for your children what you want to provide. And
hmm
that made me cry even harder because I've been there, right? I've been there
Right.
when I had to make a decision between feeding my sons and me eating something. I've been
hmm
there. So I wanted to talk about that tonight because we have this tendency into society. The expectation is that mama is the nourisher, mama is the nurturer, mama will do whatever mama has to do for her babies. We see
Yes.
that all the time. But let's talk about what happens when mama reaches her limit, when mama cannot do anything else. What was Share with us your, first of all, your initial response, emotionally and physically, when you heard about that lady's situation, and then talk about your own personal experience.
Well, I was kind of like the same way with you. It hit hard. It was like it brought back too many memories that you kind of tamp down so you can go on. Um, and I was very you know first despondent about it, and I just kind of wanted to be left alone by everybody in the world. And it was like, wow, reaching out for help. And I remember the stressful times of doors closing in your face, or just resources just not available, especially for single moms. And you just watching the gluttony all around you, but no one is coming in and helping you. And I would have to give thanks to my father, who just gave me. I think I had to have been only 9 or 10 when something horrible had happened to me, and then he was like, fix the problem now, cry later. And as a as a parent, I was like, wow, that's what you're gonna tell me. And then that's always stuck with me in any kind of situation. and he was a single dad. He was a single dad raising a whole bunch of girls. So, he wasn't he was just, giving advice that a man would do.
Right,
Fix the
right.
problem now, cry later. And then when I'm thinking about her situation and my situation and how they differ, they started off the same, but
Yeah.
then they started to differ.
Hmm.
I have to go back to that advice that my dad gave.
Right,
Now
right.
we don't know what was she going through. We don't know, what was happening around her, or her support system, or anything like that. But I can, and like I said in the video, you don't know what people are going through, and pretty much almost in this day and age, if even back then everybody was maybe one or two emergencies to homelessness.
Exactly,
Now
exactly.
it's almost like a half an emergency.
That's correct. You're right.
People only need half an emergency to happen before they're like, oh, I don't got no place to stay.
Exactly, exactly.
So it, going through that and feeling what was happening to her, I hate that it did happen, and in that way, and that it was two kids. That,
Yeah,
it was two kids, not just one, or somebody got slightly injured. It was two, and I can't tell you how many times that the good Lord was by my side,
yeah,
you know and his angels was pushing me in the direction I needed to go, and my faith and my love, and my spirit
yeah.
gave me the see through to help my kids, so we didn't end up in situations like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, like I say, I remember times when I would have to look at what I had to eat and try to break it up so to make sure my children didn't go to bed hungry.
Right.
Um, Luckily, I guess that's the word, that my kids were like 12 and a half years apart. So it wasn't like I had two babies at the time or two, whatever. So the older one, he was kind of doing whatever he was doing going into preteen. We only want to talk about that.
Mhm.
That's a whole nother show. Um,
Yeah, that's a whole nother. That's a couple of shows.
oh my God. So that preteen year, Jesus. So I was blessed to be able to have support systems, like you
Yeah.
said, the father. My father was not affectionate. My father was not the, I love you every time you walk in the room kind of person.
Yeah,
But
mine wasn't either, girl.
yeah, but if you had a need, you you could go to him, and sometimes we would laugh about it because the whole time he's giving you what it is that you need, he's still fussing about why you need it, but he's
Right.
still digging around in his wallet to give you what it is that you need. But
Mhm.
as a mother, because we're taught that, I mean, let's just be real about it. From when we're little girls and we get the baby dolls, those of us that family could afford baby dolls, um the whole time you're playing with this baby, you have this, you're being programmed. This is your responsibility. This is your
Mhm.
baby. You are going to have to do whatever you can do to take care of this baby. And so we keep that in the back of our minds, in the back of our minds. And then we run into a wall of circumstances that we have no control over. And it affects us mentally. And
Right.
sometimes we like to think, well, it bothered me for a minute, but then it didn't bother me anymore. But these are your babies. Like, you carried them, you gave
Yeah,
birth to them.
it does. It does take over sleep. It takes over eating. It takes over your whole lifestyle, because like for 18 years you are responsible for this, and the world is not set up. And if you don't come to the understanding early in that 18-year journey that the world is not set up for single moms, you're going to learn a harder lesson the more you don't know it in that 18 years, because they are not set up for single moms, and to make it worse, to be a black single mom.
Exactly,
you're
exactly.
you're at you're literally at the bottom of the bucket when it comes to help and resource. They can say, to win a political argument or to win a political campaign, oh, we here for y'all. No, they're
Exactly.
not, because they will not even give you the title of family. They call you a single parent household. They
Yeah.
give the title family to even the mafia. So that word is
I
power
love
in
it. I love it.
itself. Because when you're in a mafia family, you don't disrespect the head. You don't do anything to hurt the family. You are staying true to the family and you protect the family at all costs. But you are a two-parent household according to the government and the world. And you can't even get them to acknowledge that you are a family so your kids can see that you are head of the household. And when you walk out this house, you will do everything in your power to protect this family.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that clearly tells you this world is not set up to help you. So you have to do as early as possible in that 18-year journey to set yourself up as a family first,
Yes.
whether they acknowledge you or not, and learn to protect and take care of your family despite everything and everyone has said about you, because they'll throw the numbers at you. Oh, you know your kid's gonna go to jail. Oh, you know your son gonna die. Oh, you know your daughter gonna get pregnant. Oh, you know they won't finish high school. Oh, you
Yes.
know all the things you do, it will fail. They will throw it at you, and it'll be the closest people to you,
Yes.
because
Yes.
they will get to you. So learn early as possible. No one is coming to save you. And that's a hard reality to see. And I think people don't say it because it hurts. It
Yeah.
does hurt to hear that, to know that. But the earlier you realize that, the earlier you will put in place plans to make sure if this happens, then we do this. If this happens, this is going to happen.
Right.
If
Right.
this happens, so I'm not dependent upon the government. I'm not dependent upon other people. If they help, they help. But I got this going, and this is going to do it. And I got B, C, D, E, G, all the alphabets plus maybe a double alphabet and a number after it, because, you know, I expect to be Murphy's Law at this point because everybody is setting me up to fail, but
Yeah.
I am convinced to make liars out of all of them.
I love it. I love it. And you're so right. I'm telling you, and people get saying, oh, we get sick of hearing about the slavery thing. Well, we don't really care if we're sick of it or not. It was a reality in this country. And the separation of our families goes back to that time
Well,
when,
way back to that time to weaken, to basically weaken us. But
yeah,
you do have to, like my daddy said, fix
yeah,
it now, cry later.
yeah,
Um,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Unfortunately, in that position as a single parent, you don't have the option, whether you feeling feminine or not. You don't have the option to wallow in the pain that you are feeling at the time. Put a notch in it and come back to it, but handle what you have to handle, so
Yeah,
then you can have time to reflect, to get the therapy that you need, or to get the comfort that you need.
yeah.
Find I don't say ignore it. I never say ignore it. Never ignore when you are feeling what you are feeling.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, as the two parents in the house that you have to be,
Yeah,
you don't have the luxury of saying, okay, you watch the kids while I go in the room and cry. You
yeah,
know,
that's right.
if that's the case, bedtime can be anytime you want to, 4 p.m., 3 p.m., 2 p.m., 11 a.m., and we staying in the bed all day. This is all day bedtime. You didn't know that? This comes every once a year, every blue moon. Well, that's what's happening today.
You're so silly. Oh my God.
But just use the don't live in the world. Make the world live around you and your family, and show your children how it is. And that's another thing. Get your kids in on what is happening to you. Yes, you are, acknowledge to them that you are not a normal family. and people are not going to treat y'all the same. So when, like they used to do back in this is Las Vegas. We don't run this household for everybody. And as long as you're taking care of the household will work for you. And
Yeah.
that means you as the child, as long as you taking care of the household works for you. The minute you don't take care of the household, don't expect everything to work out.
Yeah.
So
That's so
this is
true.
a family. This is a team effort. Drive into them what family means. If it has to be every day, I need to remind you we are family
Yes.
and we
Yes.
are going to stick together. And the minute I feel you are not on the team, yeah, that door is open at any time. That door is open. Don't promise me a good time, boy. All I gotta do is file a police report. Sure, and clear my conscience.
You're
More
so
foods
silly.
for me. Oh, Jesus.
That is funny. But you know what? I want to go back real quick to what you said about, you're going through whatever it is you're going through, and you still have to keep moving. You have to still.
Mhm.
I remember I was hospitalized. I thought I was having a heart attack at first. I woke up with a full blown migraine. The
Um,
whole knot in my chest was hurting. Da da da. I go to the emergency room, and they give me a shot for the migraine, and they turn the lights down because they also want to run some tests for a heart attack. So when the doctor is getting ready to leave the room, he says, "How's Miss Green feeling now?" And I said, "Miss Green wants to go to sleep and not wake up." Now,
oh,
what I meant was,
oh no,
I
they took
have
it wrong.
yeah, I had a 3-year old who was like, doing his thing, no support from his dad or family. Then I had a 12-year old who was just 12, 13-year old who was just, getting his taste of the street, doing his trying to, do his thing.
Smelling
Yeah,
himself. Yeah.
I was working and I was attending college. And as a matter of fact, that day I had an exam scheduled. And when I woke up with that headache, of course, I couldn't do it. But when I said to him, Miss Green just wants to go to sleep, not wake up, I'm thinking about get some rest. But
Mhm.
I remember him saying, "What is this world coming to?" And then he walked out. Girl, the next thing I know, I wake up because they had given me Demerol for the migraine, right? So I was knocked out. I wake up, there's a lady standing at the foot of the bed in a white jacket.
Mm-mm.
And she says, "Hi, my name is Julie. I'm from the mental health unit. I was asked to come and see you because you had mentioned that you wanted to commit suicide." I said, "What?" I said,
Uh, uh,
"High
yeah.
or not high?" That woke me right up out of my high. I was like, "I didn't say anything like that." So she said, "Well, what exactly did you say?" So I
Uh-uh.
repeated what I said, and her response was, "Well, the fact that you have stressors in your life that make you want to sleep and not have to deal with them means that you and I still need to talk." So immediately, girl, I'm thinking, all right, I get to spend the night. I don't have to worry about the baby. I don't have to
Oh,
worry about
Jesus.
what the preteen is doing. I'm going to get some sleep tonight. Girl, I didn't know that they was putting me on a 72-hour hold. And
Jesus.
I ended up being up there almost like a month because I wouldn't talk for the longest time. But that's a whole nother show again. But my point is, while I'm there in on that floor, my thoughts are still, when I get home, I still have a baby I have to take care of. I
Right.
still have a preteen that I gotta get him some sort of a male figure in his life because his father died when he was 10 months old. I need to get him a mentor. I'm still thinking of all the things I had to do.
Right. You're going through the motions because that's what moms do.
So when I get home, the first night home from the hospital, I had the baby by myself, and the oldest one, he finally made his way in the house. So what I'm saying is, like you were saying, these issues arise, and we're not pretending they don't arise, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to find the strength inside to keep going.
Right.
Yeah,
Like definitely. We definitely do. And a lot of people don't realize the they call it invisible task that we have,
Yeah.
that's always present and current, not only, you know, as a mom, but as a woman, as a head of the household. We are taking upon those tasks um, on a everyday basis. I encourage like therapy. I do encourage journaling, definitely. I encourage the one thing my mom did tell me to do is always take an hour every day for yourself. You just got to sit down somewhere, don't do nothing for nobody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to make sure your kids and everybody else, even your family, understand this is what you are going to do and no one else is going to bother you. Because we don't. We got 24 hours and we give and we give and we give, and not 1 hour was given to us. And then we go to bed thinking, oh my God, I didn't even have time to breathe. I didn't have time to put on lotion.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
even if it is just taking a shower and getting the day's funk off of you and just giving your body some love, putting some
Yeah.
lotion on
Yeah.
from head to all between your toes,
Yeah.
because when was the last time you really did it?
Yeah.
And that's a scary thought to know that you've gone over a whole week without putting lotion on,
Yeah.
that's terrible. But give yourself 1 hour a day for those moments, because in this time that especially in this time when there is so much stress, financially, family, friends, just the whole world, everything coming in and just crashing through your door, your mental door,
Yeah.
you really do need to say, I gotta stop. I'm even gonna I even say put the phone down and
Right.
just sit in your space. Sit and
Yes.
be you. Feel you. Know what's going on with you. Because if you don't prepare now, and that's why a lot of times I do say, you know um plan, pray, and parent. If you don't do that on an everyday basis in that hour, you will find out in at least a week to a month you should have been doing it back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and that's what I always preach to other single moms, and even to almost to all women. Plan, pray, parent. That means plan for what's to come, plan in advance,
Yeah.
pray in advance.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Don't just pray for the things that you want or need. Just praise in advance that
Yeah.
that the things that you have coming are going to come to fruition. And then the
Absolutely.
last is to parent not only your children, not only your household, but yourself. That means
Yes.
if you told yourself you're going to do something, be the parent to yourself and get those things done and stop putting it off. Because, like I said, if you didn't do it last week, it should have been done,
Yeah.
because you're going to pay for it in the following weeks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, as we're moving forward, I want to ask you: were there moments during these difficult or challenging times when your children surprised you with their resilience or with their ability to understand what was going on and to step up and help mom out?
Well, I had always, like, I always made them aware who I was.
Uh huh.
And that means I am just a woman trying to take care of you.
I
I
love
don't
it.
know who you are. Nobody gave me an instruction book.
I love it. I love it.
So
Yes.
we have to communicate when something's wrong, when something's right, when something's going on. And that's what I would do with the household, is like, okay, this is how much money we got coming in. This is what groceries we have and what we can and cannot overindulge in.
Hmm.
This is what bills we may have come up, or our annual bills, during the winter. DTE is gonna kick our butt. So don't be expecting any Christmas. Christmas is your lights is on. That's what that's Merry Christmas. And if your birthday happened to fall within that month, well, you gotta wait for my tax refund to come in order to celebrate. So everybody's birthday is in April. Happy birthday. So when hard times did come,
Yes.
they were ready for it, because the last thing I need in a hard time is, oh honey, I'm sorry we can't do your birthday. We homeless and your birthday, and I know you wanted it so much, but or I'm not gonna take from this bill in order to make you happy.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
we're not taking food out of your brother's mouth so you can get the latest wig that you want for your, to go to school.
Right.
I'll help you figure it out, but
Yeah.
we what we not gonna do is allow your personal stress to affect the family.
Family. Yes.
I
Yes.
give you a journal and you can journal together, but
I love it. I love it.
But
Love it.
but you have to start them young and teaching them. Once you teach them the importance of family, they will understand when hard times come, it's not about you. It is not about you. It is the family. So I prepared my kids in advance that hard times is going to come, because number one, I'm a single mom. We
Yes.
all black. We in Detroit.
Yeah.
We a trifecta. So things are going to come.
Yes.
And in that, we're going to have to deal with them. I'm going to be there as your faithful judge, jury, and persecutor, but I will also be there to help you through all of it. If you are there, as long as you are there for family.
Wow. I love it.
So yeah, the base of that is prepare your kids
Yeah.
for what's to come. Let them know what could happen. Go through the drills of, okay, if there is this and I'm not around, do this.
Yeah.
If there is this, and if you don't know how to talk to them, find a movie or book y'all can read together and say, okay, when this happened in the book, if that ever happens to us,
Yeah.
this is what we're going to do. Or you watch a movie. Okay, if this happened, that happened in the movie. If this happens to us, this is what we should do. But find a way to communicate these emergencies or these mental loads that could come to help the load that's on your shoulder to just be able to not as heavy,
Yeah.
not to be to not be that heavy on you, and that you can say, okay, at least they got it under control. I had a situation where I would be at work until 5, and the kids got out of school, of course, at 3:30. And the youngest of the brood was only maybe about 8 years old. So each day, my son and daughter, the two oldest, who were like 5 to 6 years older than her, they would take turns. One day my daughter would go pick her up from her where she go to pick up school. Then the next day my son would. And so they took turns, and sometimes they wouldn't even catch the same bus because they would get out at different times too and just wait for her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my son and her were on the bus, and my son, he fell asleep on the bus and
Oh, wow.
and realized he was about to miss his stop, and he jumped up, jumped off the bus, and forgot his sister.
What? Oh my God.
So the rule is, if you got a problem, this is one of my rules. If you got a problem, you better have done everything in your power to try to solve the problem before you bring it to me. I don't care what the problem is. Don't bring me no fresh problem and then be like, oh, well, I don't know.
Right, right,
So
right. That
I
is
get this
funny.
call. I'm at work. I didn't even have a car. I was riding the bus too, because I would ride home. So he calls me, and the first thing he says, "Ma, don't worry."
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
And I said, "What's going on?" He said, "I left Jackie on the bus." I'm flipping out at what? You left the baby on the bus. He was like, "Ma, what did I say?" And I said, "Okay, you better say something fast." And
I know
I'm
that's
flipping
right.
like, "Oh my God, my child is on the city bus. I have no idea." And I'm like, "Well, how long has it been?" He's like, "Well, probably about an hour now." I'm like, "Oh my
Oh
God,
my
you don't know
God.
where your sister is." And he was like, "Wait, Ma, let me tell you what happened." So he told me, okay, I jumped up and I left her on the bus. But what he did was first, he called his friend who was on the bus, who had been on the bus with him, and he asked his friend to get Jackie.
See?
Then he told his friend to get the address. And then he said, then I'll call Auntie Stephanie. She's coming to pick me up, and we're going to go over there and pick up Jackie. So in that regards, I have to say I am glad that we had discussed in advance. We had
Exactly.
discussed, and I had forgot we had discussed.
I love it. I love it. That's
Because
great.
I said, if ever that happens, he had thought about what I said. Well, call DTE. He always had the phone number to DTE on his phone. He knew how to call it. And I was like, you're gonna call DTE and you're gonna tell them, you left something on the bus, and go from there. And he said that's what he was thinking about. And then he thought about, well, he left his friend was on there, so he could call his friend to get to Jackie faster. And I was like, oh my God, thank you.
Isn't
Thank
that
you so much.
awesome?
Because
Oh,
I was already thinking of, oh, we're gonna be on channel 2 by the end of the night, and somebody gonna be, oh, that's a bad mama. She done left her child on him. I'm
yeah,
thinking the whole realm. They coming to take my kids away.
yeah,
They gonna have CPS in my house.
yeah, yeah.
I,
I can totally understand. My mind would have
I
went the
was
opposite.
a hot mess, but it was a blessing to know we had planned in advance of,
Yes,
of an emergency. And I am such a paranoid. I will go through every emergency with my children. If
yeah.
I see something or I see, and that's another thing that people always say, well, this came upon me and I didn't know what to do.
Hmm.
I've learned in life, God always gives us lessons before the test. And
Wow.
we think lessons are, well, we got to learn pain, and we got to learn struggle, and we got to learn heartache and heartbreak. But sometimes it's everybody else around you going through it, and you chose to ignore it because it's not happening to you.
Say that. Say that.
So that lesson that God was trying to show you was what they were going through, and the fact that you just said, "Well, I'm ignore that
Wow.
because that's not happening to me, so whatever." But you should have been paying attention and
I love
seeing
it.
what they did wrong or right in order to get through that time of struggle. Because when then it turned around and slapped you in the face, and
Yeah.
you're like, pop quiz, it was never a pop quiz. He
Wow.
told you what to do. You just chose not to listen or learn from others before it started happening to you.
Wow. That's powerful. That's
And
powerful.
I've learned, watch other people, help other people who are struggling, because when that time comes and your life test is put in front of you, you already know the answers to get to the blessings of success.
Yes. Wow. I love it.
And that's what I learned. And that's how that what I want to teach everyone and let everybody know that learn lessons from not only what you've gone through, but what other people are going through, and understand that it could happen to you. I don't care how abundant in your life you are, how good your life is going, how wonderful and perfect you got everything all set up. It could happen to you, and you should be prepared and plan for those things for you and the people that you care about.
I love it. Wow. That's some good teaching there, madam. Thank you so much. So you've been watching me lately, and I'm like really, really wearing my advocate hat and advocating for people in many different areas. But so whenever I think about anything anymore in these last few years, I'm always thinking about advocacy and moving forward. And
Mm-hmm.
you have transformed your story into something very powerful, something very enabling, something inspiring and transformative. Because I don't want us to just inspire people. I want us to help people to change, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to listen to these podcasts and say, oh, that was nice. That was a nice story. That was really inspiring. But when you turn off this podcast, I want you to be able to say, she said something that really resonated with my spirit and changed my life. That's what we're working for.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel that any single mother or mothers in general, but since we've been mostly talking about single mothers, that heard your story tonight, that heard your passion, that heard your advice, what do you think that they should do with that information other than saying, oh, that was nice, that was good, I never thought about it like that? How do we move forward into being the best family that we can be as single mothers?
I would say take my moniker, plan, pray, parent, um, and use it daily.
Yes.
I do have a notebook on my website, motownmommusings.com, and
Okay.
you can download the plan, pray, parent notebook. But in that regards, I encourage journaling. I encourage reflection, daily reflection. Moms need to do it daily. As women, we need to constantly be vigilant in our mental health, because once you have a strong mental health, you'll have a strong spiritual health, you'll
Yes.
have a strong um feminine outlook, and a strong physical health. It all transcends to making sure every day you can balance everything that's been put in front of you. And you need more or less a diary or a log to keep up with everything that's going on, what's to come, and what has happened in the past, so
Yes.
then you can see how to navigate and prepare for what is to happen.
Absolutely.
Because yes, we are powerful creatures because we are women
Yeah.
automatically, but know that at any moment something horrible could happen, and you need to be able to handle and make it through the other side, because not just for you but for the mouths that you are responsible for.
Yeah.
and,
Yes.
and and just because you, like I said in the beginning, you want to make liars out of everybody who doubted you, because that is real success, when you can look back and show, I did it. I did it, and
I know that's right.
everything you said almost happened,
Yeah.
but it didn't.
But I'm
Thank
still
God.
here. I'm still
I'm
standing.
still here. I'm still standing.
Yes. So as we close out, Sylvia, I want you one to summarize for us what mental health looks like for you today, and then I want you to make sure that we have give your all of your contact information to the listener in later. But I
Mhm.
want them to hear all of your contact information because I remember way back a few years ago when you were a guest on the podcast and you talked about being the queen bee mother. And
Yes,
I still remember some of the things that you said because we have that responsibility to be the queen in
definitely.
the home, right? And I just always fascinated by you because sometimes when you say things, I'm thinking, where in the world did she get that from? And then I remember people saying the same thing about me, like, Where in the world did she get that from? So I just bust out laughing because I'm thinking that sounds like something Sylvia Hubbard would have said. But anyway, I want you to give us that information, share with us where you are mentally now, and then share with the audience any way we can contact you so that we can definitely make use of the gifts that you have.
So where am I mentally right now in my life? I would say I am on a mental high. I am I am living in the success stage of what I have planned and prayed and parented for. Um and I can sit back and just go back through my journals and say, you know, cover my hand over it and say thank you God for getting me through this, and know that all that time it was his grace and mercy covering me every step of the way to get
Yes,
me to this point in my life.
I love it.
And like I said, I do encourage everyone to go into my website at motownmommusings.com, and you can get the resource button and click on the Plan, Pray, Parent notebook. And there is also an emergency happens guide in there as well. So you can also click for that guide, and even like a grocery list guide to help you, plan for that as well.
Wow, that's powerful. I
Right.
love it.
You can always reach me on Facebook at Sylvia Hubbard, and all other social medias is at Sylvia Hubbard 1. And on my main website, because I am an author, you can contact me on sylviahubbard.com, or I do run Motown Writers Network, which is a literary organization, and that's motownwriters.com as well.
Awesome, awesome. So there's no reason that we can't find you, right?
Right. Never a reason why you can't. Never a reason why I'm always around. And some
I
people
love
think I
it.
don't sleep, but I do. I do. Not the traditional sleep, but I do. So, but
Okay.
I always love to say encouraging words to people, because, my mess is the message.
Yes, yes.
And it's for other people. I think God took me through the storms to my rainbows in order to help other people, to give other people no excuse not to get to theirs.
I love it. I love it. Wow. Because I'm gonna say this that I'm closing. Um, because okay, I just lost my thought. This is
I'm
sad.
sorry. I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, because it had something to do with what you were just saying about
About
sharing.
storms and
Yeah,
rainbows.
yeah, like sharing what you go through. Because sometimes people think that they have to keep everything to themselves. Um, they think it's important to look like you got it all together when you really don't.
Right.
Like
Pride,
that
and
whole
pride will, like they say in the Bible, pride will be your fall. You know,
absolute.
and you think that just because you are a single mom, you have to be strong on the inside and outside. Yes, but closed mouths don't get fed.
I know that's
Like my mama said. And so you do have to put yourself out there in public. If I hadn't really had friends who, because I was going to work every day, even after our tragedies that happened, I still had to go to work to an 8-hour job. Food pantries close at 5. I don't get off till 4:30. So how am I supposed to get over to a food pantry? But
right.
a friend would say, "Hey, Sylvia, I know where that food pantry is. I could go pick it up and just put it on your porch for you." And
See,
so many times I would come home and I'd be like, on the way home, like, Lord, I have no idea what we're going to feed the kids tonight. And walk on my porch and see 5 bags of groceries
see,
sitting there from a food pantry. because somebody decided to bless me that day, that they were in the area and they
Yeah.
saw the food pantry and they knew about my struggle because
Yeah.
I said something. I opened up my mouth and said, "Look, I don't want no money. I just, if you see a food pantry, just go pick it up. If you see a giveaway for kids, go
Yeah.
pick it up. Here's my kid sizes. I have no problem with you doing this for me." And if it wasn't for the network and understanding that my network is my net worth, I
Yes.
don't think I would be where I am today without them.
I love it. I love it. And that's why, and it took me a lot of years to get there. I'm going to tell you the truth because I came up in an environment where when you told you needed help or you asked for help, it was seen as a weakness. It was seen as
Mhm.
a lack of faith. I know even when people found out I had been admitted to the mental health unit, it was like, oh my God, how are you supposed to be an ordained minister and you're in the psychiatric ward? And some people said to me, you don't never ever need to tell anybody that happened to you because it will impact people's how they look at you. But then there were so many others that were coming to me saying, thank you so much for sharing your story because I'm going through the same thing. And
Mhm.
you know that you made it to the other side. I know I can make it to the other side. And so that's
Right.
why it's so important for us to share.
It
All
is
right.
important to be, you do really do have to share. And even if you are prideful in that sharing, then go out and help others so
Yeah.
then you can see how to share properly or who to share with. You,
Right. Right.
focus on relationships and service rather than focusing on the problem, and you will find a solution for what you're going through just by focusing on those relationships and services to others.
Wow. I love it. I love it. And that's a perfect way to end this conversation because we've been very real, we've been very raw, we've been very transparent about things that we've gone through as single mothers, our mental health, how it impacted us but we didn't give up. We didn't
Right.
quit. We used our networks. We asked for help when we needed it. Um,
Hmm.
Yet we stood strong in our faith, even when it looked like our faith might not be working so well. We stood firm in our faith, and I'm grateful for that.
And when,
Sylvia,
when
I
all else
appreciate.
fails, just call out the name of Jesus and just let it go.
Oh my God, there is so many times I had nothing else to depend on, nobody else to call, nobody else to cry out to. Seriously, it's not a cliche; it's a reality.
It's a reality. Just call his name.
God
Let it
bless.
go.
All right, madam. It is so good to see you again. I'm getting ready to
Thank
go.
you.
Keep me in your prayers.
Always.
Go give me some more ginger ale.
Yes. Drink some girl. Get a ginger root, cut it up, and start doing
Oh,
that as a tea.
okay. I will do that as well. It was so good to see you. It's been a while. We got to do better. Love you so much. You have a great
Thank
evening.
you.
All
You
right.
too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.